Hello and welcome to this edition of GoTo Biz Pros, Peers, and Resources. This is our Facebook Live series where the Innovation Center and the Independent CDC sit down and talk to some of our terrific professionals, resources, and our peers that are at the Innovation Center, really to reach out to the audience, to let them know our good resources. We started this about 4 months ago, and we had a series of about 5 people that we were going to talk to. It's been wonderful because we've done one of these about once a week. And really in the Kansas City marketplace, and I want to thank Kasey Devine for being here today to talk to us about the employment landscape and building a good culture, and actually some of the regulatory stuff that's going on with being an employer,
yes,
as well as coming in as a good employee.
Absolutely.
And so we've set up a series of the GoTo Biz Pros because in Kansas City we have some phenomenal resources.
Absolutely.
But it's almost overwhelming for the entrepreneur to really enter the landscape and to know where to go. And the Innovation Center fields around 600 calls a year of what's next. So we just wanted to share our resources that we connect with, our professionals that we connect with, and introduce them so that you know that there are terrific people out there to help you grow. This is a Facebook Live. It's a live session, so if you have if you're watching, as we have an audience,
yes,
please do. You can comment, you can ask us questions. We're very happy to answer those. If you hear a disembodied voice come across the screen, that's Xander Winkle, our producer, with us. And I want to thank Works Lab. We're sitting in Works Lab, which is co-working space at the Innovation Center. I want to thank them for letting us come in when there was time in the schedule. So, Kasey, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here at Works Lab too.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a terrific work environment.
You're
So that's right. So we have had the discussion about, and so the Innovation Center starts out with early micro enterprise companies. So
Yes.
they're growing, they're scaling, they're building their companies. At first, it's the one or two owners of that company running with their heads down, but all at once they have to build their team.
You're right.
And so whether you're in that position or whether you're already well established and you're seeking employees, it's a challenging market out there.
You're right.
So it's actually we were talking about low unemployment rates.
Very low, yes.
But there's a sign about everywhere that says help wanted.
Yep. So yeah, good point. I mean, it's a good thing for employees, but it's a very challenging thing when it comes to entrepreneurs. So across the United States, we actually see our lowest unemployment rate since 2001. And that's currently floating around about 4.8%. And really good news for Kansas City, but again, a challenge for entrepreneurs is that gets even lower. State of Missouri is around 4.4, and Kansas City is around 4.3%. So that means that about 96% of the people that live in Kansas City are employed. So that's the question is, all right, I'm growing and I can't just do this all by myself. There's only so much time in the day. How can I find the right person at the right time here in Kansas City and actually engage them into the vision of what I want to grow this thing into?
Well, and so the other part of that is a lot of people may be employed, but they may not be employed in their field of choice.
Correct.
So as an employer, how do you position yourself to be competitive?
Right.
To be able to attract the type of talent that you're seeking.
Yeah, so when it comes to being competitive, you're absolutely right, because it doesn't matter what size business you have. If you have employees, everyone else out there is looking for quality talent. So if you have one employee, that employee is a rock star, someone else would love to have them too. So when it comes into that, it's not just attracting employees, it's retaining the talent you have. So it doesn't have to be this big expensive thing where you think of multinational corporations, they have this huge benefits package and it's crazy like that because not everyone wants to be there. So like a lot of people truly want to work in the startup community and with entrepreneurs. So it's realizing what you have and promoting that strength. So it's, all right, well, I have a vision. I can easily give you as much experience as you want. I have a lot of opportunity for recognition. You have a say in this. And the millennials and even Gen Y that are coming into the workforce, that's very important to them. So it's figuring out before you actually go and find an employee, who do you want? Like, who is it?
So really establishing that corporate culture, no matter what size you are, What you could be a 10-person shop, you could be a 100-person shop, you could be just starting.
Yes.
You've got to define, because you're the leader.
Yes, you have to have an identity.
You have to have an identity.
Yes.
And that's a big thing. Next week we're going to be talking to somebody about business leadership, and so that's part of that.
Yes.
This conversation will bleed into that one, I promise you.
It will.
But that's a big part of it, is establishing corporate culture. And so you are in a really, really large, terrific company.
Yes.
But your focus is small business.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're ADP is a Fortune 300 company, but my job is actually, I think, the best. It's working with brand new and existing businesses from 1 to 49 employees. So it's really taking the idea that, all right, I mean, big corporations have the same responsibilities and challenges that small businesses do.
Right.
And that's the idea, is the exact mission of the Innovation Center. How do you connect those resources and enable them to compete? Because you have the same expectations with less resources. But that doesn't mean it can't get done. That's the big thing.
Well, and I think, so one of the misnomers, and one of the things that I've witnessed and experienced through the life of working with small business, is they're much more casual. So as we talk about that environment, as we talk about the building, having a corporate identity, understanding exactly what you're looking for in an employee before you go out and seek, so that they aren't surprised as they're coming in, so that you can have an honest dialogue with them as they're coming in.
Yes.
It seems like with small business, there's some education, there's a gap in education, because again, we're running with our heads down. We're a bit more casual about it, but it's really because it's employment. And you enter into a whole new realm of regulatory at that point. There's a challenge there.
It is, but if you think about it, one of the biggest things opportunities you have as a small business is the opportunity to pitch, so to speak, to an employee. You get to work directly with the owner. So hey, I am an absolute expert in this. Like I know food service, I know tech, whatever that's going to be, and I can teach you what I know. So and also, that doesn't necessarily mean, because you're hiring your first employee, that you can't necessarily market career pathing too. So I'm hiring you for this specific thing, but let's talk about career development just as if you were a big corporation. Why not? Like you can assign the C whatever O position because you can, and that means something, because you're actually able to build it. And I personally love the idea of, when I talk to my small business clients, the fact that it's growing, but it's growing with the sum of the people that they have.
So identify your culture, make sure you know your brand, make
Yes.
sure you know what you're looking for in someone, and really as you're, and that's going to give you a competitive advantage in that workforce.
100%.
Because you can articulate to the people that you're interested in hiring, no matter what field you're in, whether it's tech or whether it's food, it doesn't really matter. Well, that's really terrific. So.
Yeah, and I'd say the other part of that is also, so, all right, I'm ready to have an employee. And you've gone through, you talked to the lawyers of the world, you talked to accountants, and you're ready for it. Where are you looking for them? You know, so as good as a help wanted sign can be, you are limited to the people who pass by it. So if you think of it, knowing that 96% of the people in Kansas City are employed, you have to meet them where they are. So it doesn't necessarily have to be this big scary thing, but if you think about it, all right, if you're trying to hire for tech, for example, tech people are hanging out online. So,
don't go into your competitor's office and hand a card and say, come work for me.
Yeah, like you can find them on their own space, right? Like you don't have to be necessarily in person, because that's not everything. So even just having a good conversation of, it's no longer the day where you can put up a help wanted sign or an ad in the newspaper and you're filled with resumes. You have to go meet them where they are, which is usually online.
Oh, that's terrific. Okay. So, well, I want to thank everybody for being with us today. We are going to be back online on next Friday at 10 o'clock with Frank Keck and Rachel Keck. Frank's an author. He's done the 60-second coach. We're going to be talking about business leadership. We appreciate your time and attention today, and we'll look forward to joining you next week. Thanks, Kasey.
Thank you.